Well, Jeff Cutshall, great to be with you again. How are things in your neck of the woods?
Jeff, they are doing very well. Looking forward to some fall weather here in Kansas City and maybe even doing a live class or two this fall. So things are
Ooh,
looking well.
a live class. Yeah, I haven't been in any of those for a while. Hey, Jeff, when you were growing up, did you ever think you would be a carpet cleaner? Was that your dream?
Actually, it was not. Yeah, I just wanted to try to graduate. I was thinking if I can just do that, I'll be doing pretty well. So, but
Yeah,
I'm glad I
graduate.
chose this though. It's been a great gig for sure.
Yeah. Did you graduate too?
Barely. Yeah,
Barely.
barely.
Yeah. What some people don't know is that Jeff and I are taking a class soon, and we're dreading it because it's been a while since I've taken a test. So,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, we'll see how we do.
we sure will. I just hope I do better than you. That's all I care about.
You probably will.
All right, Jeff. So we're here. We are Jeff Squared. Another episode. We've had some pretty good programs, lots of views. What should we talk about today? Got anything in mind?
Well, I was thinking the last one with Steve Toburen, which was the business owner's blueprint in scoring big in the hiring game. That one got around 11,500 views, which it was amazing. So I was thinking maybe we could do a follow up on, something along the lines of hiring.
A follow up. Steve Toburen. He's a great guy, but he's always so late getting here. I
Mm.
wonder how long it'll take him to show up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who would hire him these days, but maybe we could get him in here. Oh,
Here I am,
There he
guys.
is. Our intros are so exciting. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. Thank you. Good to be here, guys.
So, according to Jeff Cutshall, which none of us knew we were going to talk about hiring again, did we? Wink, wink. Steve, we covered the topic of how to hire good workers. The views on that were tremendous, and I just think it's because there's so many issues out there with companies. It's not just our industry. If I want to go to work at Burger King, I get a free iPhone. Uh, Walmart distribution down the road is giving a $3,000 bonus. I'll see you guys later.
wow.
So, but it is a problem, right? Finding good workers. So, Steve, we covered that topic, but is there more to that we can talk about today?
Sure. We could talk about this forever because I've never seen a more brutal hiring environment than right now. And now I think in our last scoring big in the hiring game, we talked about the absolute need to market ourselves and constantly be recruiting with an ongoing process. And that's essential. It's not enough to just run a help wanted ad anymore. But then once you do get a phone call, once you do have people reach out to you, then it's time to get choosy and not just hire anybody.
Choosy, Steve. From what I'm hearing, there's many cleaning contractors and restoration contractors that are completely happy just to have warm bodies right now. So, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean that you're right. Far too many of us in this industry, we are just trying to get anybody on board. And that's a huge mistake. And the reason why is it's going to come back to haunt you later. I always use the analogy in my hiring seminar that it's like when you were looking for a spouse, you didn't just get desperate, or I don't know, maybe some of you guys were desperate, but the point is, above all else, that you need to not settle. Again, don't just settle for anybody, and instead follow an organized routine system. That's what I want to tell you once you do get someone calling in.
Okay, Steve. So, walk us through that system then of hiring.
Well, it's what I call my 6-step hiring funnel, because you don't want to invest a lot of time in everybody. So once you've done your recruiting, you start getting calls routinely and interested about a new career. The step one, the first thing in your hiring funnel is what I call your phone pre-screening evaluation. In other words, when you think about a funnel, you start wide and then you bring it down. That's what we want to do here. And what we used, Jeff, was what I call a simple phone pre-screening evaluation. This is a one-page form where you ask the caller 8 simple questions. And while you're asking those questions, you also are filling out an evaluation graph below on their courtesy, their personal warmth, their driving record, etc. And then you can make a decision right then if you want to continue the process. But I will say you got to move quickly, because these people don't stay on the shelf very long in today's work environment.
So what do you mean, Steve? So how do you speed up that hiring process?
This is something we've just recently added to our seminar. And what we're finding is, first of all, people know that they're in great demand. So they want to move fast. And I find, thanks to this crazy pandemic, many people now are very comfortable with Zoom. Look at us now. A year and a half ago, we didn't even know what a Zoom was. And now here we are, all comfortable. So what I recommend now in the hiring seminar is, if they pass my phone screening evaluation, then just right away, I'm going to say, you sound like someone we might be interested in. Let's jump on a quick Zoom video call right now. And again, this is a great way to get to know them. And you can see them face to face. You can make an evaluation. So that's step number 2, jump on a Zoom call. And that's important because, remember, this is a courtship. And you don't want to just jump right into a marriage with them immediately.
Well, good advice. Looking at some notes here, you mentioned the first step, qualify them during their initial phone call using your phone screening form. Second, a Zoom video conference. Yep, you're right. We all know what that's all about. We're doing it right now, basically, talking to each other face to face. So those are 2 steps. What's the third step?
Well, the third step, if I feel comfortable and if they pass my Zoom interview process, what we call a pre-interview, then we invite them down to the office, or if we're working out of our home, we'll meet them at a coffee shop, and because we want them to fill out what I call step number 3, an initial job application. Now, there's 2 things I especially remind my students. First is set an exact time for them to be there. Don't say, "Oh, come down tomorrow morning." Say, "I can fit you in around 9:15 tomorrow morning. Will that time work for you?" And then they say, "Well, yeah." And remember, you can see them because you set this up with them during your step number 2, the Zoom interview. Also, then you add a little kicker. You say, "Now remember, 9:15, don't be late." And that way you kind of set, okay, boom, I want him to be there. Now, the other thing, a lot of times they'll say, "Well, can you just email me the job application? Or can I send you my resume?" Especially with tech level positions, I don't want that. I want them to come into the office at an exact time and fill out manually a job application on a clipboard. And the reason simply is I want to at least know if they can read and write. I don't expect my techs to be Harvard graduates, but I want them to, I want to see what their level of comprehension is, reading and writing. And then finally, one last tip, guys, is once they've filled out that job application, I would then have my staff, whoever's in the office, to walk them out to their vehicle. And then we're going to check what's the condition of their equipment. Because honestly, if they can't take care of their own equipment, how are they going to take care of my equipment?
That's a great idea. I imagine they might wonder why you're walking them out to the car, but it doesn't matter. You're looking at their car, seeing what kind of condition it's in. So what's next?
Well, my fourth step is once you have their initial job application, remember, we're we're sorting these people. And at any point, when things don't add up, when we don't feel good, including how my staff feels about them when they're in the office with them one-on-one, then we bail out. But now, assuming the staff feels good during the initial job application, I'm now going to review the job application. And specifically, what I'm looking for is two things: their average length of time on each job, their job history, and unexplained gaps in their job history. Like, where were you for the last, in those 6 months in 2018? Did you just drop off the thing? Because, the job history is so key, because if they've had 7 jobs in the last year and a half, what makes me think that I won't be job number 8 and they stay with me for 2.5 months and then they're gone? So that's really important.
Steve, we do tend to be overly optimistic, I think, sometimes. So let's just say their job history, that passes the test. So what would be the, 5th step then?
Hey, you're paying attention, Jeff. I'm impressed. So 5th step is I'm now going to verify their job references. And this is a surprisingly important step. A lot of times my students will say, but Steve, nobody's going to put down a bad reference. You'd be surprised. So you're going to call each reference, including the personal references, and verify everything on their form. Now, this is an art in itself, because savvy HR managers know they should never give out a negative review. And I cover how to worm this stuff out in our hiring seminar. But you verify all of the references. And then my last step is number 6, which is finally an in-depth job interview, face-to-face, where I'm going to sit down with them and spend about an hour to an hour and a half. And I know you go, well, I don't have time for that. Well, do you really have time to waste 3 months on a marginal worker? Then you finally get up the nerve to fire them, and then you go through the whole process again. So it's so important to follow this 6-step hiring funnel. And the number 6 step, which is an in-depth, face-to-face job interview, is so important. I think that probably justifies another session with you guys, if you'll invite me back sometime.
We probably will, Steve. Your rate is affordable, so we appreciate that. These are great ideas. That final interview being an hour and a half. If you get that far and you do that, you probably have a really good candidate on your hands. Maybe, Steve, to wrap up, give us a quick review of those 6 steps. Just highlight them for us.
Okay, I'll check my notes. But number 1, first of all, in the hiring funnel is you do a phone pre-screening evaluation. And again, Jeff, if anybody would like a copy of that, free copy, I won't spam you, just write me at steve@homefrontsuccess.com. And I'll send you a free copy of this exact evaluation form that we used. It's very valuable to do what I call high grading people. A lot of people are basically only interested in clicking off a box for their unemployment application. Well, we're going to try and worm that out of them so we don't invest a lot of time in them. If they pass that pre-screening evaluation, then I'm going to say right there, hey, you sound like a good candidate. How about you and I jump on a Zoom meeting real quick? I'd like to get to know you. You can get to know me. We can ask a few questions of each other. Then if I like them on the Zoom interview, then I'm going to ask them to come down for an initial application. Have them fill it out in the office, get your office staff's feelings, their gut reactions. always write this stuff down on a sticky note and put it on the job interview. Never write something on a job application that you wouldn't want to appear in a court of law. Sticky notes have a way of falling off. We'll cover that in the seminar. And then if my office staff is happy with the person face-to-face, we're now going to review the job application. Job history, most importantly, that's step number 4 in the hiring funnel. Now, if they pass that, we're getting down to where it's worthwhile to invest some time. So that means we're going to verify their references. And that's time intensive, but it's important. You need to have someone sensitive assigned to that. And then finally, if the job references check out, then we go to an in-depth, face-to-face job interview, about an hour to an hour and a half. And we'll cover that maybe next time if it's okay. Maybe not next time, but one of the times coming up. In fact, honestly, Jeff, something I'd recommend for our next conversation, if I ever come back, would be in today's hiring environment, you have to pay people more. And of course, it's not just paying a new applicant more, because when you do that, there's a domino effect. Because if I've been with you 3 or 4 years, I'm going to go, wait a minute, how come this new guy is making more than I am? Mm-hmm. So basically put, we got to raise our prices, and we got to raise them a lot. So I'd really like to chat with everybody about how to raise your prices and still book all your customers, all your calls next time.
Plenty of topics for sure. I love the ideas, and also, how to do an interview could be a really good episode in the future. So what do you think, Jeff Cutshall?
Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me. Sounds good.
All right.
Well, I'm honored, guys. And I will mention too, just very quickly, if anyone was intrigued by the hiring funnel and how to recruit people, please join me. I'll send you information if you write me in my Hiring the Very Best 3-hour online live seminar. Do that every month or 2. So I'd love to have you. And thank you guys for letting me shamelessly promote myself.